No, originally I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
I came to Fort Worth by way of United States Air Force,
Okay.
and I was stationed out in Carswell. I went in the military when I was 17, and got out when I was 21, and was stationed out at Carswell. I met my wife here. We were both working for Community Action Agency at the time, and we were married for 48 years. My wife and I worked hard, and we always saved our money. We didn't have to. We don't have to have. We never had to have the best, the flashiest clothes, the fastest car, the flashiest stuff. We lived over here. We paid our house off. In fact, both houses that we bought over here, we paid them off, as quick as we could, and we saved our money. We lived frugal. And after I was here, I got out the service, and I decided I didn't feel like I'm probably like most men. I didn't feel like I'd accomplished anything, so I didn't want to go home looking like a failure. So I just stayed here. Didn't have a job, and I was walking around one night and walked past this place on Hattie Street. It was an old fire hall that had been given to a lady by the name of Lenora Rolla, the lady who this museum is named after, whose name is on this museum, but she actually is this museum. Um, and a lady by the name of A.I. Harris, Dr. A.I. Harris, who was the first black chiropractic, I think, in the city of Fort Worth, black female chiropractic in the city of Fort Worth. They, some way or another, I got to talking with them, and the guy by the name of Johnny, who was he worked full time selling truck parts and part time at the Hattie Street Haven. And I saw him and asked him, say, man, y'all need somebody to teach judo or work with kids? I can do that. And he said, well, yeah, but we have no money. I said, okay. I figured it was something to do. And so I started coming down, hanging out down there, helping with the kids, teaching, just teaching what I did, teaching the things that I knew, and just listening to kids talk when they need somebody to listen. And that eventually, Paul Sims with Community Action Agency, eventually Miss Rolla and Dr. Harris talked them into hiring me. So they had two paid staff person, two part-time staff person now, and that was the two of us. And we did programming, like if kids they want to have, kids, they want, everybody was doing dances back in 69, 7 groups and stuff like that. And so they had the mayor's opportunity. The mayor, in this town, this town's a funny place. They have good things, and if somebody else is not paying for it, they let it go. It drops, it dies. And so they used to have the mayor's opportunity. It was a full-blown thing of all the talent from all over the city. And kids come in. You'd have dancers, you have singers, you have every part of town was represented, and it was good. And they had it at the convention center. It was really huge. The place would be full. And I remember the guy from the south. There was a guy who was a black belt, and he had heard about me, and we got together and he choreographed almost like a Bruce Lee fight scene. And so, but it was it was a lotus and a grasshopper, because I was doing using judo as the grass, and we did a full fight, and it just blew. I mean, just turned it out, and so that was good. So and I kept up with Miss Rolla. Miss Rolla and I, over the years, we still talking. I was living in the Dr. Harris had a 2-story big house. It was 2 stories, so I rented upstairs. I hated those apartments. So she said, would you like to rent the upstairs apartment? I got an upstairs apartment I can rent to you. It's kind of dusty and dirty. It needs to be clean because nobody lived there. I said, yeah. I jumped at the chance. I spent 2 days cleaning and dusting and everything, and moved in, and that's where I stayed until I met my wife. So that's and over time, like I say, just kept in contact. When Miss Rolla died, the last few days she was in hospice, and I went up to the hospital with her, and a few times, and before she passed, and was with her, and she told me a lot of things. She cried. I cried.
Yeah.
But it was just when you're with somebody, when you've been knowing somebody for a number of years, and you see how sincere and how much they love this place. That's why it hurts me so bad when I see we had progress to a point, and then it's almost like, and I'll say it, and I ain't got no problem saying the scavengers come in and they want to take over and pretend like everything's been fair. Well, it ain't been fair. It ain't been nice. For this side of town still does not have youth programs. They have nothing for young people. Community centers are not geared towards young people. Hillside Park should be filled with young people. It's not. They got a gym. They got the midnight basketball was one of the worst things we ever did. It was good for some in one area, but it was bad in another because parents did not want their kids, because it got known as the place where the gangs hung out. And so parents who were responsible wouldn't let their kids go there. And so we've got that's a narrative that needs to be rewritten. So you've got a center up there, and they need to have transportation so you can transport kids from here up there and from all over there and do more. We could do more than play basketball. We can do more than play sports. You got tennis. You got an excellent tennis game to the thing up there. Why don't we have table tennis rackets up? Why don't we have real arts and crafts? So all the time I was doing community work, I was also working full time as probation officer and in the Army National Guard and Reserve. So those are things. That's my life. My daughter used. I didn't know till later. My daughter used to say, "I hated y'all made me live in this neighborhood because I had." And mainly because we knew everybody and everything that was going on, and she could not, even when she was in high school, I was overdone. I would go over to the elementary school. She went to elementary school for a while, but then she was also bused over to Tanglewood, and so they knew me over at Tanglewood. They knew me when she got to Dunbar Middle School. She was in the gift in the Magnet program, and they knew me at Dunbar High School because she was in the Magnet program, and I was up there. Wasn't known, and so all the gangs. So I knew some of the gang members that were 17 and on felony adult probation. I knew them, and so they couldn't. So when they saw me walking down the hall, the word got, "Aaron's daddy's here." And so, but there was some other people too. Cleve Benson, who was a Dunbar graduate, worked for me at the gang unit. Then we had other officers who would graduate from Dunbar, and I would get we go up there. Also, it's a certain amount of freedom when you live frugal and you do what you want to do. Nobody could ever say, "Well, we'll fire you." Okay, go ahead. I could go collect cans if I have to. When I retired, the day I retired, I was pissed off. Excuse me. Are you recording? When they were selling 40 ounces all over the city, and all the glass, all the bottles ended up all on the streets, in your yards, and everything. So we got with Ralph McLeod. We found some money, and we started paying for glass, paying for the bottles. And pretty soon, you couldn't find a piece of glass anywhere. And so the bottle bounty was a success. We did that. Yep.